Good morning, respected teaching and research fraternity. Hope you and your family are safe in the crucial period of COVID 19. We understand and emphasize with the difficulties that we all are going through the current situation due to COVID 19 in our country. As all the higher educational institutes are closed as per government directions to practice social distancing, the webinar programs have made it possible to learn new ventures being at home. I, Jyoti Prakash Medhi, welcome you to the FDP on research opportunities in signal processing on behalf of Vidya Vardhaka College of Engineering. Today, I will be discussing on research probabilities in biomedical image processing in the area of diabetic retinopathy using fundus and OCT images. So, to start with the discussion, the whole discussion is distributed or illustrated in few 4 points, and we will be discussing all these points in 3 different video lectures. So to start with, we'll be first discussing diabetes and eye physiology, then to continue with the effect of diabetes on our eyes, which is called as diabetic retinopathy. Then we will search the various challenges in research in order to understand and and discuss and learn from how to get the different outputs and how to go for various research aspects in diabetic retinopathy. So thereafter we'll be discussing the automated diagnosis of diabetic retinopathy and the various stages, how it is being done. So diabetes, as is known to all of us, so which is commonly known as diabetes mellitus, and we all call it as diabetes, is a metabolic disease that causes high blood sugar, and the hormone insulin moves this sugar from blood into the cells and to be stored or used as energy. With diabetes, our body either doesn't make it enough insulin or cannot effectively use the insulin formed. Diabetes is very much familiar to every individual and has created place in almost every home around the world. It is mainly caused due to the present lifestyle of ours, starting at developing countries first and now peaking at the developed ones. As per the statistics, as you can see, as of 2019, it is 463 million people worldwide are having diabetes, which are only from the known and reported cases. But there are many more unreported cases also, which will increase this number to a larger extent. So, if we talk about the ratio of male and female, both are having equal distribution of diabetes. And if you can see, the mortal rates are 4.2 million deaths. Now, diabetes not only affects our blood sugar level, but also start affecting various other organs like kidneys, which is called as nephropathy, then neural systems, which is called as neuropathy, and our eye, which is called as retinopathy. So today we'll be discussing on the various aspects of retinopathy and how diabetes affect our eyes. So to start with, first of all, let us discuss few preliminaries about retina. Now, our eyes consist of various parts. As you can see here, there are various portions of eye, and the light enters through the cornea of our eye, and it moves inside the eye and falls over the retina. The retina contains the most of the rods and cone cells which are responsible for our vision. So if there are some difficulties over the retina, or if there are any difficulties in the formation of the images, or there might be some difficulties of the light entering through the eye and falling over the retina may cause various eye-related difficulties. And with the progression of various diseases like aging, diabetes, and many other symptoms which arises from high hypertensions, they affect our eye and start blocking the vision. So in order to study that the effect of diabetes over the retina, we call it as diabetic retinopathy. So as you can see here, the retina consists of various rods and cone cells. These are rods and cone cells. This is a dissection of the retina showing the layers of retina, uh, and these how these gets affected during diabetes gives us the region of our study today. Now, these retinal images are taken by various uh, instruments, and there are out of those mostly used instruments are fundus camera and OCT cameras. In fundus cameras, we can see, as you can see here, the right hand side image is a retinal image taken from a fundus camera, and the left hand side image is taken from a OCT camera. OCT stands for optical coherence tomography image. So in case of fundus image, we can see the two-dimensional overview or the image of our retina. Where, as you can see here, it contains various regions like, and this is the optic nerve region, which is called as optic disc. Then this is called as the macula region, where the light falls or the light entering the eye directly comes and fall over this region. And at the center of macula lies the fovea, which is responsible for the central vision. Now, the along with this, there are different blood vessels which nourishes the retina. Now, here in OCT images, we can see the various layers of retina. This is a cross-sectional view of the layers. That means in fundus image, we can see only the top region or top portion of our retina, but what is there inside the retina that can be visible only through OCT images. And during retinopathy, various changes occurs over the retina, starting from the retinal surface to the retinal layers. So, in order to understand and in order to study diabetic retinopathy, we have to go for both the fundus image analysis and the OCT image analysis. Now, to start with, various effects due to diabetic retinopathy are like, as we can see here in this image, the first image, number one image, is a normal vision image. Now, if a person is having diabetic retinopathy, there are various abnormalities that fall over the retina which block our vision and which causes the blurring of various regions in our retina, which blocks our vision, and finally we cannot visualize an image perfectly. As you can see in the second image, the image becomes blur. This is the visual changes that occur. Now, if the abnormalities that fall over the retina are concentrated over the fovea center, what we have discussed as the region for having the central vision, then our central vision gets blocked. For example, what effect we can visualize there is, as we can see here in the third image, the clock is visible, but the person cannot identify the time. So these are various visual changes that occurs over the eye. Now, in order to understand or in order to go for go to a doctor for checkup when we are having this kind of difficulties is very much uh, very much difficult for the patient to understand, because till the time when the person used to see blurring of his vision, till then it is very much late, and if it is not cured at the earlier stages, the person may become blind. Now, to go into the various steps or various symptoms that occur during various stages of retina. As we can see here, this is a fundus image. In the left hand side, we can see there is a normal retina, and on the right hand side, we can see there is a diabetic retina. As we can see here, there are various abnormalities that are falling over the retina, as we can observe in the second image. These are actually not present in a normal image. So, various difficulties or various abnormalities arise due to the insufficient amount of oxygen that should be reaching our cells. So with the progression of diabetes and due to higher amount of blood sugar level, the oxygen cannot reach the cells. So in order to provide the cells with more amount of oxygen, what the blood vessel does is it starts growing some abnormal regions. For example, the first abnormality that is visible in the retina is formation of various beaded-like structure, which are called as microaneurysm. So these are various beaded-like structures. Now, these microaneurysms, if they burst and fall over the retina, they form various patches of bloods, which are called as hemorrhages. Now, these hemorrhages are nothing but dead blood cells. Now, with the progression of further diabetes, various protein and lipid extracts of our blood vessel also move out and fall over the retina, which gives rise to the exudates. Now, these exudates are higher in density, and if these regions lie uh, over the retina in positions which are responsible for vision, then the person's vision becomes blurred. As you can see, the fundus changes. As you can see here, these dark portions represent the hemorrhages. These brighter portions represent the bright regions or exudates. Along with exudate, there are other abnormalities or bright regions which are called as cotton wool spots, then soft exudates. But when these exudates, due to higher amount of depositions, becomes more condensed, they are called as hard exudates. And if a person is having hard exudates, then the diabetic retinopathy stage becomes higher. Now, our main motivation here is to identify these changes over the fundus image. Now, this is all about fundus image changes, but these effects change the retinal layers also. For example, as you can see here in this image, the left hand side image is a fundus image and right hand side is the corresponding OCT image. Now, in the left hand side, we can see there are some depositions occurring, but if we see properly the layers, then you can see this is a normal image OCT and this is the corresponding OCT image of this fundus image, where we can see there is a high amount of depositions which is making the retinal layer thick. So this is by looking at this, we can understand that the person is having higher severity of retinopathy. So in order to understand the exact situation of a patient, we have to go for studying the corresponding OCT image of the same person of whom we are checking the fundus image. Now, to discuss about various stages, the types of diabetic retinopathy starts with background diabetic retinopathy. As you can see here, the image A represents a normal retinal image. Then image B is a background diabetic retinopathy where we can see presence of microaneurysms. So these microaneurysms are very small and very hard to identify. So we have to go for fluorescent angiography for understanding or for studying these microaneurysms. Or otherwise, nowadays, the fundus image that we are having from the various high resolution cameras also show the imprints of these microaneurysms. Then with the progression of diabetes, next stage is pre-proliferative diabetes, where we can see venous bleeding and intraretinal microvascular abnormalities, which are called as IRMS, and multiple blood hemorrhages. And cotton spot and hard exudates are also visible here. So here in the images, image number C represents the pre-proliferative stage. Now, next stage is diabetic maculopathy. If these abnormalities cover the macular region or fall over the macular region, then this the stages is called as diabetic maculopathy. So here interretinal fluid and hemorrhages are found within 2 optic disc diameter. So as you can see here, the optic disc that we are having here in this image, for example, suppose let us consider the first image itself. This is the optic disc. Now, this optic disc diameter, if we calculate and then consider that diameter calculation from the fovea center, and if we are having abnormalities at a region of 2 optic disc diameter, then it is called as diabetic maculopathy. Now, next, the higher stage or the final stage of diabetic retinopathy is the proliferative diabetic retinopathy, where you can see neovascularization and vitreous hemorrhages. Neovascularization is nothing but formation of new blood vessels. As the blood vessels cannot produce higher amount of oxygen, so in order to get more amount of oxygen, what the retina does is it grows some smaller amount of blood vessels, small blood vessels. So these small blood vessels can also form various microorganisms, and these small blood vessels being very much fragile, they leak tremendously, and they form various or huge amount of blood flow towards the or falls over the retina, which causes higher amount of hemorrhages. Now these blood vessels, if they enter the vitreous and burst over there, then this blood vessel will cover the vitreous, this blood leakage will cover the vitreous region. Now, if this vitreous hemorrhages occur, the light cannot enter the eye itself. It gets blocked over the vitreous region and it cannot come over the retina. So the person becomes blind. So these are various stages of diabetic retinopathy. Now, as we are discussing, the third stage is diabetic maculopathy is consist of three other complexities which are separated as mild, moderate, and severe stages. As we can see here in the image, there are three circles, concentric circles. Now, the outer circle, which is at a region of 1 optic disc diameter to 2 optic disc diameter, this region is called as mild. Now, within this region, if a person is having various depositions, then it is called as mild stage. Similarly, if we go more towards the center, then in a second circle is called as the moderate region, where if a person is having abnormalities in this region, his severity is more higher. And finally, the stage is called as severe if it is falling under the third circle, which is the innermost circle. That means as we are moving towards the fovea, the severity is increasing because fovea is responsible for the central vision. And if a person's central vision is getting affected or blocked, the person cannot see the central region of the vision. And gradually, the whole vision gets disappear. So if anything lies over the fovea or this region, as you can see here, if anything lies over this region, then light, as we know, light directly falls over the macula, and in the macula it falls over the fovea. If there is something that is blocking the light coming to the fovea, then obviously the person becomes blind. So to understand diabetic retinopathy, the further discussion that we'll be doing will be in terms of diabetic maculopathy. So these are various types of diabetic retinopathy. So with this, we end up the first session where we have discussed what is eye, what is retina, what is diabetes, how diabetes affect our retina and what is diabetic retinopathy and various stages of diabetic retinopathy and how we take the images of our eye and then what are the changes that occur over the retina. So in the next session, we'll be discussing what research work we'll be doing in this area and how we have to identify the various challenges that are related to this discussion. So we'll stop here and we'll continue with the next session on the research challenges. Thank you.